X-Men. In this ish, don't miss the fleeting but fateful appearance of Doctor Strange. It's a freewheeling fight to the finish when Marvel's magnificent mutants tackle the fearsome Juggernaut. X-Men, the most unusual fighting team of all time. Into the Crimson Cosmos. Enter the Juggernaut. And, just for a switch, what say we let our vituperate villain recount the action last-ish for those forgetful ones among us? Ha! I can brush aside these trees like so many matchsticks as easily as I defeated the accursed X-Men. Perhaps I should have totally destroyed them while I had the chance. But all that matters is that I must capture a plane so that I may reach the mysterious group known as Factor 3. And reach them I shall, for nothing can stop one who wields the awesome power of Cyttorak. Well, the foregoing account may be a wee bit prejudiced, but at least it'll bring you right up to date. And now, let's see how the rest of the world is taking the Juggernaut's Sunday stroll. A capricious compendium of mighty Marvel milestones. Never has Stan Lee edited a more senses-shattering saga. Never have Roy Thomas and Werner Roth co-produced a more mind-staggering masterpiece. Never has John Tartaglione delineated a more earth-shaking epic. Never has Sam Rosen learned to spell Cyttorak. In fact, it looks as if we're just about to find out. Over there, smashing his way towards us through those trees. That must be the Joker. All us two-man teams were deployed to halt. If it ain't, it's the meanest-looking bulldozer I ever saw. Stop jawing, mister, and load that Zuka. I'm way ahead of you, pal. Exactly 1 second later. He's coming straight at us. Fireman, fire! There she blows. That sure ought to finish it, whatever it is. That single shell's got enough power to stagger an elephant. But almost as the National Guardsman speaks, "What? Would more of the puny humans try to bar my path?" Do they imagine that they will succeed where the mutant X-Men failed? No mere missile devised by man can penetrate my invulnerable force field. And now, beware, for you have aroused the wrath of the Juggernaut. He wasn't even knocked down by the shell. Let's clear out Charlie while we're still able. Yes, run, fools, run while you yet amuse me. Tell your fellow humans to stay out of my way for their own sakes. Tell them how I can do this. Suddenly, the stunned senses of the beleaguered soldiers are staggered by the unbelievable force of the Juggernaut's blows as shockwaves caused by his mighty fists move across the valley with frightening speed. No creature can possess that kind of power. He caused an earthquake with his bare hands. It may be impossible, but it's still happening. And look out! The cliff above it's starting to crumble. We'll be killed. And, with mere instants to spare, the two fleeing figures scurry to safety as countless tons of massive boulders come cascading down only yards behind them. That character brought the cliff down on purpose so we couldn't follow him. Then, as far as this private's concerned, he did us both a favor. He's heading towards the nearby Metro aircraft plant. Maybe he can be stopped there by the army. Meanwhile, not far away, in one of the few sections of X-Men HQ which was not damaged by the rampaging Kane Marco, Somehow I got through to the governor on the phone, and he's called out the National Guard. Still, they can only delay the Juggernaut. To defeat him, we'll need the professor's help. That's why Scott had me hook up the mental wave amplifier, Warren. With it, perhaps I can probe the professor's subconscious and learn what put him into this coma. But can that gizmo reach his subconscious? She's got to try that. Remember it from X-Men number 20? Sentimental Stan. Hank's right, Bobby. Professor Xavier once showed me how to operate the amplifier, and wait! I'm getting some sort of signal. But it's so faint, so distant. Must turn to full volume. Jean, what is it, gal? What do you hear? You must get through to him, Jeanie. Only he could possibly know what, besides his own mental bolts, could beat the Juggernaut. Quiet, all of you! Can't you see she's concentrating, listening? Sorry, Scotty, we're all on tenterhooks. It's all right, boys. The psychic impulses are coming in more strongly now. That must mean the professor's going to be all right. Thank heaven! But the story that they're showing me, it's incredible. I'm witnessing fantastic events that occurred hundreds of years ago. Yet on them may hinge the destiny of Earth. I see a young mystic journeying through the land called Chosun, which is today Korea, and drawing near a temple carved into the very hillside. At last, the foreboding shrine of the evil demon Sitarak. Even in far-off Kamartaj, its infamy had reached my ears. If anyone who doesn't recognize the Ancient One as a young man, from Strange Tales number 148, lose one turn. Stern, Stan. And, entering the rough-hewn sanctuary, the traveller gazes in wonder as he beholds the ruby of the crimson bands. They say, he who touches yon stone becomes a living Juggernaut. Yet I come not to touch, but only to observe and learn. Suddenly, without warning, by the 7 rings of Ragador! What dread apparition is this? An inhuman monster, grotesque beyond belief, attacking me with a mystic spell of encirclement. Horak is no mere monster, insolent mortal. When Sitarak was banished from this world, he did create me to be guardian of this his sacred temple. So you are the reason why no man has ever dared the curse of the Juggernaut. Legend tells of many who have made the long journey to this place, but of none who have ever returned. Aye, for whosoever enters the temple of Sitarak, him I destroy. Still, you are no common wayfarer. You counter my magic bolts with your own. Then, made careless by eons of easy victories, Zorak is stunned to find himself mystically entwined. Let the crimson bands themselves draw you back into their cosmos of timeless silence. No, I am being pulled into the sacred ruby. There may you ever dwell an eternal outcast. But should you ever return, I shall defeat you anew, though it be centuries hence. With these words, the sinister being is hurled irresistibly into the universe which lies inside the ruby of Sitarak, there to dwell in scarlet silence forevermore, as Marvel Girl concludes her strangely gripping tale. The professor must have learned all this recently, probably by probing his stepbrother's mind. Thus, it remained on the outer fringe of his subconscious. But who was the mystic he mentioned, the one who said he would live for centuries? I can sense only the mysterious name, the Ancient One. Now I must stop. To go on while he's so weak would risk damaging his brain. And the professor is worth 100 juggernauts? Quickly, we've got to set up a protective device for the professor. What then, Psyche? Then we're going to get the Juggernaut, one way or another. My own sentiments precisely, Mr. Summers. Above all else, the X-Men are a highly trained, disciplined team. And so, within minutes, working furiously under the direction of the grim mutant called Cyclops, they have unearthed many of the secrets of the shattered secret lab. This Mentallo shield must have been used to keep Cain Marco alive while Professor Xavier tried to cure him of the Ruby's curse. If only it can do the same for him. It will. It must. At least the machine's still operational. Jean, why are you taking his pulse? I've got to know if it's near normal or... His pulse reading is 50. That should be close enough. Our special signal watches are handy in more ways than one. I concur, but now let's turn our undivided attention to Cerebro. For I solemnly suspect that only it might locate the man known as the Ancient One, if he still lives. Thus, the quintet set to work as a unit, with one overriding thought: find the Ancient One. I've never heaved nor, lads. We haven't a moment to squander. But how could this Ancient One guy be alive after hundreds of years? I know it sounds impossible, Bobby. Yet, it's our only lead, so we've got to follow it up. Besides, it's no more amazing than Cain Marco's gaining the power of the Juggernaut. I've never seen the boys so serious, so determined before. Soon, as the X-Men race against fleeting time. Lucky the professor briefed us on these machines, psych. It was far more than luck, Warren. He seemed to sense that, one day, we would have to operate this multi-frequency booster and Cerebro itself. The MFB greatly increases Cerebro's range for a limited period. At least, if I've installed it properly. I'm finished, Scott. The moment of truth is near. So that's what it does. We've wondered ever since ish number 27. Snoopy Stan. Stand by, X-Men. I've fed all the data that Jean typed into Cerebro's computer system. Within moments, we'll know whether the so-called Ancient One is still alive or whether... Don't say it, Warren. He must exist. He has to. Wow, look at that needle spin. Cerebro is scanning the entire globe, Bobby, trying to pinpoint our quarry. For long, anxious moments, the 5 mutants silently observe the flashing of lights, listen to the whirring of circuits. Then, look, Cerebro's reacting both as if it's located the Ancient One and as if it hasn't. How can such a thing be? Either the Ancient One exists or he doesn't. And yet we've made some kind of contact. But with whom? The next instant, as if in answer to Cyclops' query, a sepulchral voice is heard. Speak! Why have you summoned me thus? Some transparent image appearing through the wall. That's not the man I saw in the professor's thoughts. Who calls the Ancient One, calls Dr. Strange. The Ancient One is no more. His very essence has passed to me, his mystic disciple. How do we know you're telling the truth? My ethereal form has come here from Stonehenge at great risk. If you wish merely to doubt, I must return there.
And how? He's now on trial in Strange Tales number 158, Solicitor Stan.
Wait, we must speak with you about Sitarak. Quickly, Scott Summers relates the origin of the dread Juggernaut. Then, because my mentor's knowledge is now mine, perhaps I may help you. Yet the journey I propose is very dangerous, and only 2 may undertake it.
Let the angel be one of those, the 2, Psyche. And the Iceman. As deputy leader, I must go. And, for the second person, I choose...
Me, Scott, I must go with you.
We all volunteer.
Still, I must choose, and I choose Marvel Girl.
But did I pick her because of her great telekinetic power, or, selfishly, because I love her? The rest of you, however, have an equally important task: to delay the Juggernaut as long as possible. Scott chose me as if he knew how much I long to share his risks. I won't let him down. Listen carefully, for I must return to Stonehenge. I shall cast a spell to send you to the temple of Sitarak, where you must repeat the incantation which even now courses through your brains. He's right. I can sense our entire mission. This Doctor Strange possesses power we never dreamed existed. And now I must depart. To remain longer would place my body and the world in direst jeopardy. But hear this. If you have not completed your mission within the span of 1 hour, you shall remain forever within the Crimson Cosmos. The what? Hey, he's going right through the ceiling! Next, even as the form of Doctor Strange vanishes from sight. Now, Psyche and Jeannie are fading away. What's going on? No time for talk. We'll explain if and when we return. For now, just try to stop the Juggernaut. Remember, everyone, the Professor and the world are counting on you.
The following moment, half a globe away. We've materialized in Korea just inside the communist zone set up by the truce.
The temple we seek must be within that mountain, but the ground between may well be mined. I'll levitate us there. We must make every minute count. And so, scant seconds later, my telekinetic probing reveals some sort of man-made object inside it. It must be the idol of which the Professor once spoke. Then I'll blast our way in. Whatever my reasons for choosing Jean, no other X-Man could have done a better job. Wait, coming towards us, the sound of voices. And, indeed, as the 2 mutants look behind them, I do not like this. Our patrol takes us across long, forbidden territory. Here, men say lies buried the ancient temple of Sitarak. Yes, too am filled with a feeling of dread. Silence, fools, and keep marching. Another trustworthy translation from your beneficent bullpen. Your servant, Stan. It's only a matter of time before one of those troops sees us. So, the best thing to do is to beat them to the punch. And I'm betting that removing this strategically placed keystone will do just that. Almost immediately, before the enemy soldiers can advance another step. Flee! A landslide sets off our own minds against us. We must truly have aroused the wrath of Sitarak. Good girl, Genie. Meanwhile, I've located an entrance to the temple behind boulders that collapsed more than a decade ago. But we've already spent several minutes here, and Dr. Strange said we had only an hour. We'll make it, girl. We've got to.
Then, the potent eye beams of Cyclops blast through solid rock rubble, which has long shielded the temple from prying humans.
That shimmering scarlet light. The shrine must be straight ahead. Strange, I can't hear a sound. Yet, my brain seems filled with music. It's as if someone is calling to me, beckoning me to approach. Careful, Jean. For all we know, the sacred ruby may have a new guardian like that exiled by the Ancient One. Yet, moments later, rounding a bend in the stony passageway, the two teenagers suddenly behold. There, the ruby of the Crimson Bands. I must. No, you dare not touch it. Or else you too would become an evil Juggernaut. Oh, I forgot. The ruby's so bewitchingly beautiful. Bewitching is exactly the word. The ruby is enchanted, but my voice broke its spell. Now we must clasp hands and repeat the incantation which Dr. Strange mentally revealed to us. By dread Dormammu's deadly twin, by Hoggath's hoary strands, let these two now descend within the ruby of crimson bands. I don't understand what we said, Scott, yet I feel dizzy. The spell must be starting to affect us. And, even as the young mutant speaks suddenly, the sacred ruby! It seemed to change shape, to grow. Or are we simply shrinking? We're being drawn into it. No matter what, Jean, don't let go. Whatever menace we face, we must face together.
The next instant, as the sinking sensation abruptly ceases,
the crimson cosmos, the world of timeless silence to which the Ancient One exiled the one called Zorak. It's a crazy quilt universe, unlike anything we've ever seen, and in which we are intruders. But we were sent here to find the spirit form of the sacred ruby, and it matters not what you were sent to find, mortals. For what you have truly found is death. Scott, look, that apparition, it must be Zorak. Nay, fools for, on earth Zorak was a mere demon created by Sitarak. But here I am supreme. Here I am the outcast. Meanwhile, just in case any of you neglectful ones have forgotten just why Cyclops and Marvel Girl have braved the terrors of the Crimson Cosmos, let's pick up on the ever-sinister Juggernaut a short distance from New York City. At last! I've reached my destination! Soon it shall be flying towards Europe and Factor 3. As approaching the plant from a different direction. Just the three of us against a joker with the power to knock down a mountain. Whatever happened to the weak villains like Magneto and the Sentinels? And while I'm on the subject, what does a guy like the Juggernaut want at an aircraft plant? I'd hate to hazard a guess, Bobby, but whatever it is, we must ascertain that he doesn't get it.
Just then, the night sky is suddenly, horribly aglow as
Ha! While the army thinks I head for the city, I shall strike here and be gone. This electrified fence cannot harm me through my force field. Look, the guards are falling back like the army advised. Now, till the troops get here, it's up to the X-Men to delay the Juggernaut. How do we do it? Give him a traffic ticket. Move, boys! That guy's taken enough juice to light up Albany. So the accursed X-Men insist on risking their rash lives yet a second time. Well, if they seek to bar my path, they'll discover they have followed me to their doom. This time, nothing shall induce me to spare them. Meanwhile, our marvelous mutants have plans of their own. Okay, the copter's ready. Now all we can do is wait. But what about Psyche and Jeannie? I wonder how they're doing. There's no way we can know, Bobby, until that hour is up. And oh, don't look now, group. But the Juggernaut just obliterated the main gate. He's heading our way, and he appears distinctly hostile. Here's where we get that walking powerhouse and pay him back for what he did to the professor. I hope so. He looks stronger than the first time we fought. Do I detect a note of temerity, my fresh-frozen friend? Temerity? I can't even spell words like that, Mr. McCoy. Don't worry, I'll do my part. Hank never meant that you wouldn't, Barbie, and you know it. Now, get ready for action. He's almost on top of us. A most calamitous prospect indeed. Then, as the heavy, measured tread of the Juggernaut's relentless steps comes closer, ever closer, the X-Men act. Up, Bobby. We can't take him by surprise because he can read our minds. But that won't do him any good against those whirring blades. Read ya, Warren. We mustn't let even his little pinky get through. Correct, lad. For where that diminutive digit goes, the rest of him follows. So the young fools seek to halt me by using their own helicopter as a weapon? But they have merely sent their flimsy vehicle to the scrap heap. A mere moment later, the blustering villain makes good his boast. Nothing can penetrate my invulnerable force field. And, as long as that is true, nothing and no one can ever stop the Juggernaut. Holy Hannah, look at that! He's ripping our copter apart piece by piece. Very observant, Iceman. Now, step closer and I'll do the same to you. No thanks. Uh-oh, it's strategic retreat time. We're lucky that he can't move as fast as we can. Undoubtedly. Still, the besieged beast has one query. Namely, how do we win the war if we lose all the battles? Whew, all this scene switching confuses us as much as it does you, faithful one. But we've got to find out what's happening in the Crimson Cosmos, so we come in peace, outcasts. We want only the prototype of the Ruby of Cyttorak. With it, we can defeat one who attacks our own dimension. What care I for your puny world from which I have been forever exiled? Here, fools, you are interlopers, trespassers, whom I shall utterly destroy. Observe, mortals, but one of the powers of which I am master in this universe. Behold the scarlet circles of doom. Wah! Those whirling discs, they're uncoiling, wrapping themselves around our arms. And they seem to keep coming without end. In mere seconds, we'll be completely covered by them, unable to breathe. Quickly, Jean, your telekinetic powers! And, almost as Cyclops speaks, I've done it! I've stopped them! Now, with all your might, send them back towards the outcast. I'm trying, but it's so hard.
Suddenly, with a burst of mental energy, the astonishing girl mutant sends the discs careening backward towards the dark figure which menaces them.
You did it, gal! They're hurtling straight for the outcast. He must have been caught off guard, confused by my power based on science, not magic. But what will happen when the coils touch him? So, curiosity is still a trait to be found amongst mortal fools, eh? Very well then, watch and learn. Indeed, the following second, as the discs touch him, they explode. And their smoke obscures him. More than that, Scott, he's vanishing. Then, as the last vestiges of the outcast fade from view, he's gone, and from behind where he stood, I see a bright scarlet glow. It must be the dimensional form of the ruby, the very thing we're looking for. We've only to pass through that spiraling tunnel, and it's ours. So it would seem, and yet I can't escape the feeling this whole thing has been too simple, too easy. If the outcast is as powerful as he said, how could mere discs finish him? I'm afraid you may be right, Scott. Yet, we saw him disappear as if destroyed by those silently exploding coils he must be. But before Marvel Girl can finish, she and Cyclops are abruptly grasped by crimson tentacles from the very sides of the tunnel. We're caught. They're adhering to us like living things, can't break free. And, worst of all, look at where they're pulling us.
We're heading towards the outcasts. His face is filling the whole tunnel and coming our way.
Now I know how Fay Ray felt when she first met King Kong. We've got to escape! But how? My eye-beams, if I can just reach the control stud. I made it! Now to see how sturdy these clinging vines are.
You severed one of them. They're releasing me.
Then, as Jean Grey lands safely on the tunnel floor, next we'll find out how the outcast takes to my optic blasts. Insolent mortals, do you not yet suspect the truth about the Crimson Cosmos? Truth? What does he... Wait. Something's happening to the outcast. Verily, truer words have seldom been spoken, for he's vanishing in a blinding flash, just like before. We're being hurled back to the tunnel's entrance. Our mutant abilities saved us, but our hour must be nearly gone. And when it is, we'll be trapped in this nightmare world. But an even more startling surprise awaits the superpowered duo as, the next instant, "Here, fools, you are interlopers, trespassers, whom I shall utterly destroy." Because I have the strangest sensation that I've already heard those very words. Of course, it's what the French call déjà vu, the feeling that you're going through actions a second time. That events keep happening over and over in endless repetition. The Ancient One called this a world of timeless silence. So it is for the outcast, but for the two of us, time keeps right on moving, just like our insulated watches. And in only 1 minute, an hour will have elapsed, leaving us stranded here forever. Jean, the ticking of your wristwatch. Look at the effect it's having on the outcast.
He's shrinking in fear at the mere sound of it. And the ticking grows louder with each heartbeat.
Away, fling the accursed thing away. I'll put it away if you'll give us the ruby prototype. Never! Then I've got no choice. I'll do what I must.
My telekinesis will press the watch against you.
But I can't even guess what the outcome will be. And only seconds remain in our given hour. No, have mercy. Mercy? The same you showed your victims in the temple of Sitarak? Release me, and the ruby shall be yours. I'm trying to, but I can't. It's as if the watch now has a life of its own. Suddenly, the outcast turns to reveal. Scott, look! He's aging hundreds of years before our very eyes. Then the awesome outcast is no more, and in his place there is naught but dust and a quietly ticking wristwatch. Over there, the ruby prototype. Grab my hand, Jean. We must be touching it when the hour ends, if it isn't already too late. The next moment, the lovely mutant receives a welcome answers as she and the youth she loves materialize in their own world once more. We're back at the school, and there's the professor, still safe and sound. Somehow, I feel as though we left only an instant ago, or not at all. We left all right, as this glowing spirit gem proves. Now we've got to get moving without delay. And move they do. The radio said that the other X-Men are battling Juggernaut at the Metro aircraft plant. But Scott, when we reach there, we still don't even know what powers the ethereal ruby has. Can we have come so far, fought so hard, only to fail now when victory seems in sight? That won't happen, Jean. We won't let it happen. Somehow, we'll defeat the Juggernaut, then see what we can do to help the professor. Thank goodness he's safe while we go after his stepbrother. But at that very moment, Charles Xavier would seem to be considerably less safe than Marvel Girl imagines. There he is. The fools have left him alone and unguarded. The only mutant whose will might thwart that of Factor 3 now lies helpless before us. Hurry then! We must carry out the task assigned us by the Master. And we'd love to stick around and show you what that mission is frantic one. However, we've got a hunch you must be wondering how our remaining trio of mutants is doing. So, well, at least one part of our battle plan is working. Juggy's following us as fast as his muscle-bound feet will carry him. Yeah, aren't we the lucky ones? Remember my besieged buddies. Every second he pursues us, he isn't purloining the airplane he desires. In here, lads, it's improvising time. Okay, so we're here. Now what do we do? If the copter blades wouldn't stop him, do you think this wind tunnel will? It's worth a try, Bobby. We've got to slow him down and... Pardon my interruption, Warren, but here he comes now. Turn the switch on post-haste. And, almost at once, the marauding human steamroller finds the tables have been momentarily turned. So the X-Men seek to regain the offensive. The pull is tremendous, can't fight it. Yet there is no reason why I should. I'll simply let it pull me along like this. Yipes! He stopped resisting the giant fan. I was afraid of this eventuality.
The next instant, then, as what's left of the wind machine is turned off.
Come on, guys. His force field protected him, but he still looks groggy. A masterful deduction, son. Still, watch out for those massive arms.
Ha! You needn't bother to whisper, you teenage clowns.
You forget I have the ability to read your minds.
Perhaps, but that's slight comfort when your reflexes aren't up to par.
No good. Even without his force field, he's virtually invulnerable. You've done your bit, Beastie. Now, let's see what the angel can do to help. Way to go, Worry. He's down, crumpled up so I can focus all my power on him. But his strength must be coming back again. The ice is starting to crack already. Of course, dolt. I am the Juggernaut. I'd better cut out fast. Bobby boy, you were never righter. He turned on his force field and busted out like a duck shedding water. You simpering young fools, did you truly expect to defeat one who is invincible? He's blocked us off from the exit. The explosion that revived me gave me more power than ever. And now I shall use it to destroy you. Only one chance. We've all got to charge him together. No, look, over by the doorway.
Do you seriously imagine that you can fool the Juggernaut with such a juvenile try?
Wait, those strange rays bathing me. And, as the startled villain whirls about, he sees the sacred ruby of Sitorak, its rays making me feel weaker. But why? It was the ruby that turned me into the Juggernaut. Of course, I should have figured it out before. Just as the earthly ruby gave Cain Marco his powers, so its unearthly prototype is taking them away. Suddenly, sensing that his superpowers are imperiled, the desperate Juggernaut leaps. Scott, watch out! He's lunging towards you. No, it's the ruby he's after. What's more, he's got it.
Huh. Now I shall touch it, hold it as I did more than a decade ago.
And, once more, the power of the Juggernaut shall be unrivaled. What's this? The ruby. Can't let go of it. What's happening?
How horrible! The emanations from the dimensional ruby are engulfing him, and he can't release it.
He's like a man receiving an electrical shock who can't let go of the wires that are jolting him. I was afraid this would happen, but he grabbed the ruby out of my hands. No, this can't be the end. It can't. I'm the Juggernaut. I'm indestructible, invincible. I'm the Juggernaut. He's fading away before our very eyes. And listen, that humming sound growing louder. Get back, crew! She's going to blow!
The following moment, the entire chamber seems to erupt in a blinding, writhing flash of serpentine flame.
Oh, the ruby's exploding, and we're too close to it. We'll all be burned to a crisp. No, the flames aren't hot. They're merely bathing us in cold light. Then, almost as quickly as they flared up, the red tongues of icy fire vanish. The dimensional ruby and the Juggernaut, they've disappeared. They can only have been transported to the crimson cosmos,
where Cain Marco will rule in place of the outcast forever.
I'm not sure what you two are mumbling about, but I'm sure glad he's gone. Likewise, Mr. Drake. we'll leave it to Scott and Jeanie to philosophize over the whereabouts of our fearsome foe. The main thing is, we won now. We can get back to the professor.
And so within the shortest span of time imaginable, the 5 young mutants are zooming towards Westchester County.
Well, it looks as if we stopped Factor 3 from gaining an almost indestructible ally. Still, it wonder if we can ever be sure of what happened to the Juggernaut. What I'm wondering, Bobby, is how we can tell the professor when he recovers. But, brief minutes later, at their secluded school, the astonished X-Men suddenly face a much more immediate and desperate dilemma. The professor! He's gone! He must have been taken by Factor 3. Then that's what they really wanted all the time. It must be they were only using the Juggernaut as a ruse, a decoy. And, while we were fighting him, they captured Professor Xavier. He's weak, helpless. We've got to rescue him.
We will, Jeanie, if it isn't already too late.
Next-ish, the extraordinary X-Men versus Mole Man and Tyrannus.
Or, what to do till Factor 3 comes. Next issue. The X-Men. Number 34.